जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ಲಕ್ನೋ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೇ
Hyderabad Punjab Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
This episode of Cricbuzz Live is dedicated to W.V. Raman and Deep Das Gupta. Lisa Sthalekar and Bhattacharjya in the house. We need a report card for the pitch report.
-5. Based on how we all went with our scores and the pitch report, they do not understand how serious we take this game, and we need the information coming in correctly.
Absolutely. Deep and WB are both good friends of mine. Guys, don't do this to us.
Are they still friends?
Don't do this to us. You make us look like fools. I can be persuaded over many cups of coffee and tea, but yeah, at this point in time, I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
High scoring pitch, black soil pitch as well. These are the words that were used at the pitch report in Guwahati. I suppose they got carried away by the beauty of the Northeast and said, let's just go with whatever comes to mind. 144 only. RR score. It's a rare sight to see Rajasthan struggle with the bat. Now the top three out cheaply as well. Riyan Parag, local boy, top scoring 48 to 34. The bowlers had a pretty good outing. Two apiece for Rahul Chahar, Curran, the captain, and Harshal Patel, who bowled an over in the power play as well. Now just 145 to chase for Punjab. At this stage, they will fancy themselves, but RR clearly missing Jos Buttler.
Yeah, they're missing Butler, and maybe they misread the pitch as well.
Yeah.
Or I guess we'll wait and see until the team bats the second time.
Yeah.
They could have read it correctly in that it's only going to deteriorate more and even harder to score. But 140 odd is something that you would take every day of the week.
Yeah.
And Punjab will be thinking this is our chance to spoil the party a little bit.
TKC looked all right, I thought, at the start, although his strike rate was way below 100. He seemed to enjoy opening, but clearly when the chemistry changes, things look different. No Butler.
Yeah, I mean, I think Butler not being there has made a difference. I think it's made a difference more to psychologically to the team and the fact that, he's not there. But also, it's a very surprising thing that somebody like a Butler not being there, they still decide to stick with their whole six-player formation where they're batting like Ashwin is batter number 7.
Yeah.
And I think what's happened in this case is, therefore, if you're in a situation like that and you want to, use the power player differently, then you tend to push the panic button also early.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. Look, if you see TKC also, Tom Kohler Cadmo, he hit one beautiful 6, but otherwise he just could not get going. So it's a combination of few things. I thought the pitch was holding a bit. And I felt that the bowlers used conditions brilliantly.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliantly. Yeah. They bowled brilliantly and they fielded brilliantly. I mean, last few matches, we've seen a lot of catches dropped. They dropped 4 against the Royal Challengers Bangalore, but today they were very, very good.
Let's take it bit by bit. The opening didn't work. A new opening combination. Jaiswal was the first to go in the first over. And then the wickets kept tumbling. Cadmore out. 18 of 23. Sanju Samson had to stay there. Caught at Gully, I think he was. Parag stayed there until the very end. Ravi Ashwin at 5. It just seemed like they were in the mood to just come in and go. No one really decided to stay. Should they have reassessed their approach? And instead of looking at 220, should they have said maybe 170, 180 is the number to look at?
I think they did. Because if you're putting in Ashwin that early, you are looking at a lower total. Yeah. And Ashwin was brought in basically to play the spinners. And he did a fairly good job in the over that he got.
Yeah.
If you see Chahar is 2 for 26 in his 4 overs. Yeah. But he went for 17 in a single over where Ashwin really collared him.
Yeah.
Okay. So they played that tactic. I think just one thing, it's a bit disappointing. They look at it and be a bit disappointed. All their top 4 after Jaiswal, the next 4 batters, all got runs. They got 18, 15, 20s, 30s, 40s. They all got starts.
Yeah.
But none of them managed to convert their start except Riyan Parag.
Jaiswal is a huge worry, not just for RR, but for India as well. Was it a casual shot? Or would you be okay with what he did?
It's interesting because when you look at T20 cricket, you see players and they're getting served up pitches where there's not much movement. The ball's kind of sliding onto the bat. Yeah. So there's no actual foot movement, head movement towards the ball, and the hands just find the ball. But when you're a little bit out of nick or things haven't gone your way, sometimes you need to go back to the basics. And I'd probably recommend that he just focuses on a couple of those basics at training, but then also maybe at the start of the innings. Then once you feel good and you're finding the middle of the bat, then it's automatic pilot for everyone.
Yeah, well, losing your main man, Jaiswal, not having Butler around, and they just did not get off the blocks. 22 dot balls in the power play, as many as 31 in the first. And take a look at that. At fifth and the sixth over that Nathan Ellis and Harshal Patel bowled. At the end of the 4-over mark, they looked all right, but then overs number 5 and 6 sort of sucked the life out of their batting.
Absolutely. And those overs 5 and 6, you are expected to get about 20, 22 runs.
Yeah.
It really, that's where, especially over 6, you really hammer it in the power play. You go after them.
Yeah.
So I think those are the things that they look at. But excellent bowling. Let's not forget the fact that the bowling was absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And each and every one of the bowlers came and did their jobs. I mean, whether it's Nathan Ellis, a Harshal Patel, a Sam Curran up front, each and every one of them delivered. And I think they bowled the best I've seen them bowl in this tournament.
Yeah.
Also, looking at the bowling, looking at Nathan Ellis, you just think, have they missed a trick by not keeping him in the team? I mean, you're looking at it now and you're saying, that's it. I want to go back to one more point, and this is one thing that you'll realize that's happening to all teams. Because of the template changing, thanks to people like Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma batting the way they are, it's pressure on all the other batters. So Sunil Narayan, Salt are batting in a particular way, Travis Head. So your team is looking to you and saying, are you giving me those starts or not?
Yeah.
So the temptation to turn around and say, okay, I'll put my head down and see things through. And the other teams are saying, we're getting 80 in our first 6, we're getting 100 in our first 6, we're getting 125 in our first 6. So that is the one thing that is playing on every batter's mind. So he doesn't feel he has even 2-3 deliveries to play back and assess the pitch. He feels the need to go so early.
Yeah,
that's one of the problems you have now.
Only 38 in the power play, 58 at the end of 10, but 42 for 3. And you saw Ravi Ashwin walk in. Did they overcook it? Should they have just stuck to Roman Powell or Dhruv Jurel coming in?
No, I understood why they did that. They wanted him to create a partnership with Parag and then keep Jurel and Powell coming in at the back end to go big, to hopefully have a bit more of a platform, because they kept losing wickets throughout and wasn't able to form partnerships. They were hoping that would happen with Parag and Samson, where it's normally happened for them, not today. Yeah. So I've got no issues sending him up because he's done the job before and he's good with the bat. Yeah,
well, a 50-run partnership between Ashwin and Riyan Parag. How good was the local boy? They call him the Rhino of Assam.
No, absolutely. I mean, even right to the end, there's 48. In 32 balls, he was 48. He was batting at 150 when he got into his last over. Yeah. And I think he was really good, because I think one thing Pommy said in commentary, which I really, really liked and I appreciated, which is the fact that everyone who's tried to go down the ground has not managed to clear the field except Kolak Admir up front, And I think it's one of those pitches, because it's stopping a bit, it's going up.
Yeah.
So the temptation and the idea is that play on the sides, you have a much better chance. And I think that's what he did well, which is that he played the sides much better. And that adjustment for a batter, because now what's happening is everyone's just clearing one foot and trying to go straight up.
Yeah.
That's the safest place to hit. Yeah. And I think that adjustment that he's made shows the maturity of a player who's just learning. He's getting better and better at his craft. Again, as we said, I mean, everyone talks about more than 500 runs for a domestic player is huge.
Yeah.
And, last year's 625 from Yashasvi got him into the Indian team. This kid has done so much in this tournament. It's not funny. And a lot of situations, including this one, he's batted under stress. He's batted with wickets going down around him. He's held the innings together so many times. He's been truly spectacular.
Looks like it is a coming-of-age kind of season for Riyan Parag. 500-plus runs already. He's batted at number 4. Looks like he seems to enjoy that spot.
Yeah, one thing is for sure, and I hope franchises and head coaches are probably looking at him as a standout of this guy has played, and we saw the graphic during the coverage of the number of years he's played in IPL in really poor form. Now, he's had wonderful domestic seasons in the past, but never batted in the position he wanted to.
Yeah.
He gets his chance this year.
Yeah.
And this is the year we talk about him coming of age. It's because guess what? He's batted there so many times, he actually knows how to deal with the situations. Yeah. when you throw players in a different situation, I know it's T20 cricket, what's the difference between 4 and 6? Well, actually, a lot. Yeah. There's a bit more pressure when you come in earlier because you've lost more wickets, or you've got less balls to score the runs. So there is something to it, especially if you want that young player to really succeed, and you rate that player. You go, hang on, can we find you a perfect place for you to get comfortable? And then once you're comfortable and confident, then maybe we can manipulate where you go. I
know you follow the S-Mat and the Vijay Hazare very closely. Are you surprised, or did you expect such numbers from Riyan Parag?
Well, even previous domestic in the 50 over, Vijay Hazare, he scored over 500 runs. Yeah. You know, and a great average, and I think a number of hundreds. So he's done it 2 years in a row, maybe in different formats. Sure. But getting that bulk of runs in domestic cricket carries some weight.
Don't forget one thing. Riyan Parag was in the side that Prithvi Shaw campaigned a captain to win that T20 World Cup, where Shubman Gill was a standout. Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
Under 19.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Prithvi Shaw is not captaining a senior World Cup. Yeah. So the Under 19 World Cup, the point was he was there as a 16-year-old. So as a 16-year-old to be picked in a side where 18, 19, and remember at that age, between 16 and 18, 19, there's a huge difference. Yeah. So to be able to bat in the middle order, he batted in the middle order in that tournament, where Abhishek Sharma, Prithvi Shaw, Shubman Gill, all these guys were there. Yeah. And he held his own. And that's what I'm saying. So the talent has always been there. See, talent has to meet opportunity. In this case, opportunity is the right spot. And I think now he's slotted in there, I think, and he's batted beautifully for me. Because one of the things that he's very good at is his strike rate consistently stays at that 140, 150 mark. He always manages to somehow get his strike rate up. Yeah. And secondly, he plays spinners and fast bowlers well.
Yep, he seems to have come here with a certain intent. Seems like an upgraded version of himself. Maybe it's the Sangakkara effect. Maybe we'll find out someday. What about the bowling? They used 6 bowlers. Everyone chipped in. Nathan Neil is coming in, bowled a very good over in the power play as well. Sam Curran on the mark. Take a look at the number of dot balls there. It's amazing how they were able to stop the RR batters. So many dot balls. Is the humble single underrated in this format?
It is when you're used to coming and playing on pitches where you're scoring 240, 250. So it's like, oh, this pitch is a little bit different. I've got to actually think how I'm going to score my runs. And that's where you want teams to be able to adjust and assess the conditions really well. I mean, you showed the graphic of in the power play how many dots. You know, sometimes you, as a player, or sometimes if there's one short side, you get so caught up in the short side or get so caught up in finding boundaries, you forget about simple rotation of strike. No doubt the batters will look at that when they go back in the change rooms and assess this game. But hopefully for Punjab, they can learn from that mistake.
Conditions clearly help, but Punjab fans might just wonder where this bowling attack was all these days.
They bowled well today. And I think Ellis made a difference, but I think they bowled well today. Also, they had that 6-bowler option. So when Harpreet did not get going, they just gave him 1 over. After that, they just took him off. And they could afford the other 5 bowlers filled in beautifully. So I think that's one of the things that today, this attack has always looked potent. Even with Rabada for Ellis, it's looked potent. But it's not always delivered in its promise. I think it has today.
Even in the first 10, he'd used 6 bowlers, so used his variety really well. Sam Curran, the captain?
Yeah, I think he assessed the situation really well and assessed the fact that he could have the bowlers bowl wherever he needed them to. And the fact is that when you throw a player a ball, you want them to be able to nail their first few deliveries, and they were able to do it. I do think that the conditions help. So when a bowler knows that they're going to get some assistance, they're not turning up there at the top of the mark going, right, where is this one going for, okay? They go, yep, if I nail this, I'm going to get the just rewards for the delivery.
Arshdeep seems to look better, more comfortable when he's bowling around the wicket. We spoke about him in the pre-show. Does this option work better, Arshdeep, around the wicket? Bowling it into the stumps, wide of the crease?
You could say it for majority of left-arm seamers, and you can talk about it for fast bowlers in general. They've spoken about the fact that this season the white ball has not been swinging very much. Exactly. So when it doesn't swing, I think left armers in general, not just Arshdeep, but all of them should come around and just get that natural angle going in just to cramp up the batters.
Yeah, Prabh Simran and Bairstow opening the innings. Bairstow has already hit a big 100 when they chased down 260 plus against KKR at the Eden Gardens. 145, they should fancy themselves. But RR have used up their impact sub. Donovan Ferrara came in, and that means they can't get an extra bowler, but they seem to have a fair bit of variety anyway.
I mean, yeah, they have 5 decent bowlers. They have 5 very good bowlers, so they wouldn't be really worried about that. It's one of those things. This is one of the best bowling attacks. Other than, they don't need a 6th bowler to make this a great attack.
Pace off the way to go on this pitch?
Yep, pace off. Don't feed it. Try and get through the power play without too much damage, because I think Punjab will try and capitalise on that. Try and see if you can pick up wickets. And this will be a good test for the bowling group. The batters haven't come to the party, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't. So it's the other half that have to step up, and here's Rajasthan bowlers' opportunity.
If they don't, it'll be a 4th loss on the trot. Now, RR don't want that to happen heading into the playoffs. They've already qualified. Very quickly, power play predictions.
43?
I had 2 numbers in mind, 43 and 51, so I'll go for my second, 51.
I'll go with 61.
Wow.
Let this be Punjab's game. Sorry, RR. Enjoy the innings and make sure you join us at the 10 over mark on Cricbuzz Combox. Bye-bye.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ
Hyderabad Bhattacharjya Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दें